Hi everyone, this is Mamata Veeramachneni with student ID 188296667. I'm a student of Latrobe pursuing Masters in Public Health. This is a book review for the subject Social and Cultural Perspective. My book is The Spirit Catches You and You Fall Down, written by Anne Fadiman. The author Anne Fadiman is a daughter of renowned literary and radio television person Clifton Fadiman. She was born in New York City and raised up in Los Angeles. She got graduated from Harvard University. Fadiman worked as a staff writer at Life. She was the founding editor for the magazine Civilization. She worked as an editor for the American Scholar. The book, The Spirit Catches and You Fall Down, was published in the year 1997. This book examined a cultural conflict between Hmong family and American medical system. This book won 3 awards, namely the 1997 National Book Critics Circle Award, Los Angeles Times Book Prize, and the Salon Book Award. As per Fadiman's narration, Leah Lee's parents, Nokha and Fa, migrated to Merced in California from refugee camp due to uneven conditions in their country laws. Leah was born in Merced, though 12 of her siblings were born in law and one in the refugee camp. The book was focused on the stressful conditions faced by both doctors and Leah's parents to treat her epilepsy and how the cross-cultural medical deteriorated the condition of Leah. The author said that there were lessons for doctors who deal with patients from different cultures in this book. But the problem is these lessons can be very easily ignored. The author, who had simply taken any medical case to explain the cultural issues, but taking epilepsy had a reason. Hmong people believe that illness is caused by the loss of soul to malevolent spirit, which can be cured by sacrificing animals to satisfy that spirit. But Hmong people has no stigma in case of epilepsy. In fact, they believe that Hmong with epilepsy becomes shamans who has a healing spirit in them, and seizures are often taken as evidence that the person has the power to perceive things that others can't see. It is with this power shamans can enter a trance state to mediate things with malevolent spirit and cure the person's disease. Shamans were given high importance and status in the Hmong community. I would like to address every key issue in the book by explaining the consequent situation led to the issue. The first issue I noticed was wrong diagnosis of Leah's epilepsy. When Leah was brought to the hospital at the age of 3 months, when she had her first seizures, the wrong diagnosis was a result of communication gap and also by possible negligence by the doctors. Doctors was not able to understand what Lee said and diagnosed it as infection. At those times, there were no professional interpreters, though hospital's janitor was present. He was not available at the time of requirement. So, without proper diagnosis and treatment, Leah was sent back to home for first 2 incidents. It is on her third incident of seizures. Fortunately, Leah was diagnosed with epilepsy as she was accompanied by one of her cousins who can speak some English. So, language barrier played a prominent role in the correct diagnosis of illness. This barrier can be removed by appointing skillful interpreters in the hospitals. Fadiman said that Leah's prescription was changed 23 times in 4 years. Again, language is a problem here as everything was in English and out of Leah's parents' scope. Though the interpreter educated her parents about medication, Due to improper knowledge and as a number of medicines and medication times were more, they were unable to give Leah medicine on time. They, indeed, sometimes lessened the medication to protect Leah from the side effects. Due to this non-compliance and also non-notified improvement in Leah's health, doctors got stressed and kept on changing the prescription. The doctors and Leah's parents in stress were centered on their culture and worsened the situation further. At this point, both groups should have become somewhat liberal towards the cultures and would have focused on Leah's well-being. The then doctors had a misconception towards monks and took them as illiterate, crazy people, but never tried to understand and forcibly tried to uh, put on their opinion on the people. If both groups have seen the viewpoints of others' perspective as well, then Leah's treatment would have been done in a better way. As Leah's mom said that it would have been better if they have treated Leah as per our culture. It is good to practice Western and native medicine side by side whenever possible. As Arthur stated, doctors should try to see disease with patient's point of view by listening to the patients with respect. Arthur coined few questions which are simple but helps to get revealing responses from patients. When I saw towards Leah's parents, it is noticeable that even though they practice an orthodox culture, Fauna gave birth to Leah in Masset Hospital by undergoing labor under doctor's supervision for the first time. I would like to consider this as a change in gaze of Leah's family. They even took Leah to the hospital when she first had seizures, instead of practicing their native medical care. This change might be due to their positive experience with the Western medical system at the refugee camp in Thailand. But when it came to Masset doctors, they lost that goodwill due to doctors' behavior towards them. Neil and Piggy were right on their path. They might be correct as per their ethics and knowledge, but it took another turn when Leah's parents were not up to the mark of medication. Sometimes it is important for a doctor to change the standard of his treatment accordingly to the patient's background and capacity. For many communities, medicine and religion are interlinked concepts. So, it is advisable for a doctor to be calm on his part without insulting or disrespecting the patient's view when the patient is disagreeing with the view of the doctor. As the author said, the main purpose of this book is to make doctors more sensitive towards patients' perspective and also towards cross-cultural medical care. Doctors should start to look at the soul of the patient along with treating with the body, because for many communities the disease is to body and illness is to soul.